Namaskar. All of you are invited and welcome for this next video for Bharat Ka Bargad channel. This is I should say the last video before I start like a live streaming so that we can discuss a modern problem of the world, including India. So this topic today is modern India. So I'm just going to give my impression about what I feel about modern India. And then after this video, anybody who wants to come and discuss the different problems should have some idea who I am and what kind of experience and knowledge I have about the condition of the modern world, including India. So today's topic is modern India, and I will start from major. Nowadays, there is one topic which is very pertinent, and it is always in the discussion about modern India, is the secularism. Now, before I go into secularism, let me tell you this. The word secularism was added to the Indian Constitution in 1975. If you remember, this 1975 is the time when in India there was a emergency, and which was imposed by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi without introduction of bill or act in the parliament. There was no discussion, nothing was happened, and the word was added in the Indian Constitution. So this is kind of a weird thing, looks like now, but it is the past, what has happened and happened. Now, as I understand, the word secularism, I will give you two definitions for secularism. One is the Western secularism and other one is the Eastern secularism. Now, the Western secularism simply is that there is a separation of state from the religion. That means religion should not interfere in the state or government or country, and the state should not interfere into the religion. This was the Western secularism. Now, when it comes to the Eastern secularism, that includes India and Asian part, that Eastern secularism simply means that whatever they assume for India is that tolerant to all major religion. This is called Eastern religion. So this was the secularism point. Now, as per Constitution, certain countries in their constitution, the word secularism is always there. And I will tell you what those countries are that who has this word in their constitution. And what I found out here are these countries: France, Mexico, South Korea, and Turkey. So in their constitution, the word secularism is there. However, the racism and human discriminations are the major factor socially, if not politically or legally. So this is one of the how much these countries are secular practically. For example, although there is in the word secularism is in their constitution, France, Mexico, South Korea, and Turkey, how much these countries are secular? Be my guest. That's your assessment. Now next, there are 10 top countries in the world that are listed as a secularism. Now, when we make those 10 country secularism the list, that depends upon how many atheists are living in that country, that how many people who don't believe in any religion, they are called atheists. They don't believe in any religion. So this is the top 10 list of the country, those who have most of the population, percentage-wise, how much percentage of the population is atheist? Atheist means they don't believe in any religion, any God, any superpower, something like that. So those people think that those are the country they should be secular. They should be secular because nobody believes in lot of religion. So that's why they are called 10 most secular countries of the world. Number 1 is China. 90% of the Chinese population is atheist. Next one is Sweden. 73% of the population is atheist. Czech Republic, 72% are atheist. UK, United Kingdom, 69% of the Britishers are atheist. Belarus, 64% atheist. Azerbaijan, 64% atheist. Vietnam, 63% atheist. Australia, 63% atheist. Norway, 62% atheist. Denmark, 61% atheist. These are the 10 most secular countries in the world as per the percentage of atheist population in that country. Now, if we come to the India, 5% are atheist. Pakistan, 6% are atheist. Now, look at these countries and their percentage. Now, they are called secular countries, but how much tolerant they are as per when it comes to the different religion and different faith, that is totally different. The lowest we can see here is India and Pakistan, but India is constitutionally secure. Pakistan, 6%. It is a Muslim Islamic country. But I remember a few years back, I was listening to the first speech of Muhammad Ali Jinnah when he gave that speech after the formation of Pakistan on the basis of two-nation theory. Remember, the Pakistan came into existence because of two-nation theory, which was propagated mostly by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. But when he gave his speech immediately after the formation of Pakistan, I think this speech was in 1948, something like that, and he gave a speech that the people of Pakistan should not fear about what religion they are following, because state and government will have nothing to do with their faith and their religion. All the people of Pakistan will be free to follow any religion what they wanted to follow. However, in constitution later on, this secular kind of concept was forgotten and becomes an Islamic country, and you know what happened after that. So that was the things of the secularism, and let us go forward from here. Now, any country, those who are secular or they were like there are two types of population you can see in any country. One is the majority and one is the minority. So minority religion is a religion which is followed by a certain group of people or population as a country, state, or region. Now, in a country, if a country is not small, if it is a reasonable, sizable country, the word minority is very discreet. In certain, as a whole country, certain religion is considered a minority. But when you come to the state, as per demographic, the minority religion becomes different, and also as per the state and in the region, district or region, the minority definition or those people who are under minority is different. So it is a very, very confusing and very contradictory thing. Who is who is in minority and who is in majority? Because we have seen this problem in India that in India it is the nationwide minority is defined as a nationwide, but that minority sometimes become majority, sometimes becomes equal in different part of India, different part of district, different part of state. However, in general, every country makes certain laws and rights in the constitution or in the judiciary system to give special privilege to the minority population. Is just because that if their rights and their actions are not protected by the government, then the minority will be suppressed. So to give equal rights, or to make them equal with the majority population, certain special rights and advantages are given to the minority people so that they should not be discriminated by the majority people. Now, as for India, because of this secularism in the constitution, I wanted to give some example here. Because India is considered as a secular state, and minority is very much protected here, there is a shair who wrote a very good shairi. This is a very famous shair. I will give you the name after I recite his shairi, so that you can see and you can have an impression that in India how the minority and other fraction of the society as per their religion, how much they are protected, what kind of special freedom has been given to them, the freedom of choice and freedom of speech and all those things. That is the basis. On that basis, this shair has written this shairi. Now, in other countries, those who are not secular or those who are Muslim, you cannot recite any Indian poetry or Indian thing. It will be too much restricted and frowned upon. But let me give you the example of this shairi, which he said, and this shair is a very famous Urdu poet. He also written lot of songs for Indian film industry. So let me give you one example. You can see the height of secularism in India if a person can say this kind of shairi and still he is considered the best shair in India just look at this and listen to this शायरी. अगर खिलाफ है तो होने दो, जान थोड़े ही है, ये सब धुआं है, कोई आसमान थोड़े ही है, लगेगी आग तो आएंगे घर कई जद में, यहाँ पे सिर्फ हमारा मकान थोड़े ही है, हमारे मुंह से जो निकले वही सदाकत है, हमारे मुंह में तुम्हारी ज़बान थोड़े ही है. मैं जानता हूं कि दुश्मन भी कम नहीं, लेकिन हमारी तरह हथेली पे जान थोड़े ही है. जो आज साहिब है वो कल नहीं होंगे, किराएदार हैं, साथी मकान थोड़े ही है. सभी का खून है इसमें शामिल यहाँ की मिट्टी में, किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान थोड़े ही है. This is the शायरी. Now you can listen, you can hear the wording of this शायरी. सभी का खून है इसमें शामिल यहाँ की मिट्टी में, किसी के बाप का हिंदुस्तान थोड़े ही है. Look at this, the height of secularism in this शायरी, and still this person is considered the best शायर in India. His name is Mr. Rahat Indori. I think you must have heard this name, Rahat Indori. So I was very fascinated by this शायरी. That doesn't mean that I appreciate this शायरी very much, but this is just an example that how much tolerant India is, that a person can write and speak and give speech like this. So depending upon this, I myself am not a famous like him. I have wrote few lines, and these lines are dedicated to my channel, like Bharat Ka Burger. So I have given the name for this very short share for Bharat Ka Burger. Listen to this because of this new government, Modi, Yogi, and all those modern things. I have written this a very small line for this. So please listen to this line also. अंबर में नया आफताब है, जर्रे जर्रे में रोशनी आमादा है, बदगुमानी कर खैर मकदम नहीं, दंगा होगा नंगा, ये हिंदुस्तान का वादा है. So this is the small word or small few shair which I have written for this under Bharat Ka Burger. So this is for this. This is in response to Mr. Rahat Indori Shairi. So let us go from here much further little bit. Now, a few days back, I was listening to a Pakistani TV anchor. I appreciate her very much. Her name is Miss Arzu Kazmi. She was talking about Pakistani politics, and recently Mr. Imran Khan was ousted from the government, and he made few comments. So she was telling what comments he made, and she made this statement. It was very funny statement, but it says a lot of things about Indian Pakistani politics and Pakistani Prime Minister, ex-Prime Minister now, Mr. Imran Khan. Arzu Kazmi said that इमरान खान ने पाकिस्तान आवाम से कहा कि आगे 10 साल में हम 10 डैम बनाएंगे और इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पैदा करेंगे. मैं भी ये वाला नशा करना चाहती हूँ. It was very funny kind of thing that we know that what he does, and we know that he is famous for a certain kind of intoxication, and this is what she mentioned like this. But anyway, that was just, I saw that it's a very funny thing, so I just have to mention that. Now, let me go further. because we are talking about modern India. So this is where the India stands. I will talk about the economy of India, number one, first of all. Now, the overall population of India now is 1.4 billion. That was estimated in 2021. So let us come to the modern economy of India. As per GDP ranking, India is third as per GDP and PPP. PPP means the purchasing power of parity. So I will explain you what these terms are. Number one, the GDP simply means all these goods and services that are produced by that country in that particular time, that is in the year. So if you combine all the product which was produced, product and also all the services which was given from this country for any country in the world during that particular year, that is called GDP, gross domestic product. Okay, so it is called GDP, and the ranking is third in the world. And look at the growth. The GDP growth goes by percentage wise. So the GDP growth for India is 8.2% as per 2022. Now the GDP for whole India at this time, in this 2022, is 11.7 trillion US dollar. This is the total GDP of this country. Now, purchasing power parity, that is a different thing, that whatever GDP is, you divide the GDP by the population. Unfortunately, India has very high population, but still the PPP, if you divide the GDP by number of people in India, that is called PPPP, and at that level we are 128, which is not a very good number, but we are still much better than any other country. But as per GDP rank, we are third in the world. So this was the GDP. Now, something I want to know about while we are here, the unemployment in India. This is a little bit alarming, which has gone up from few years back because of the pandemic, especially all over the world. The unemployment rate has gone up in India, and at this time in 2021, the employment rate is 7.8%. It was estimated in April of 2022. I'm not sure how much is now in June. Okay, now let us show you a few other figures of India economy. The export of 2022, it was a lot of shout in the TV and all over the world that the Indian export in 2022 is more than 600 billion. But I found out that it is roughly about 670 billion in 2022. So it is very big number. And also let us go. So this was the export. Now let us come to the import. Mostly the import is from the oil. We don't produce a lot of oil, so we have to buy a lot of products and services from other countries. And import in 2022 is 612 billion. So the export is 670 billion, import is 612 billion. So if you wanted to, I can give you one more parameter. The Indian trade deficit means you subtract import from export. So either it will be negative, that you are importing more and you are exporting less, or it will be positive, like you are exporting more and you are importing less. So the Indian trade deficit, as you can see here, is positive, $60 billion in April 22. As per economy like this, we are much better off with our surrounding countries. I don't have to say the name, in fact, in the word. Now, the foreign reserve. Foreign reserve means we have certain money reserve in our country that if we need to buy or get something from other country, at least we have a money to pay for that product or for that service. And we have reserve money for that. A lot of companies have reserve money to do this kind of business. At this time, our reserve, foreign reserve in 2022 is very good. It's $600 billion. So we can use that money to get extra help if we need. And I told you about the trade deficit. The problem, there's a little problem again, and when I talk about the next one, which is called inflation rate. The inflation rate means how much devaluation happens for the currency or for the purchasing power of a country. That is called inflation rate. So normal. Let us tell you what should be the normal inflation rate, which is considered normal, and this is the ideal inflation. If a country is going under this inflation rate, that is normal. There's no problem with that. The problem here is India. During the observation period from 1960 to 2020, every rate, it is unfortunate, but the inflation rate was 7.5% during that time. Now, if I can tell you one thing, that overall the price increase, let me tell you this, the price increase for this is 7,322%. That means, to explain you very simple way, is that in 1960 you have $100 rupees note. You can buy whatever with 100 rupees note. In 1960 you will need at least $7,000 rupees to buy the same amount of good or service in 2022. So 100 rupees from 1960 has become more than 7,000 in 2022. So this is the increase. Now, what are the factors that push this high inflation rate? What are the factors? Before I go to the factors, let me explain you what is the situation before I go to the inflation rate increase. A GDP of any country today, in this modern day of world, is interdependent of many countries of the world. It is very, so let me explain you this sentence. If a country is making any product, or you are refining the oil, or you are importing any other goods from any other country, you are making for India, we are making automobiles, we are making computers, we are making TVs, we are making agricultural products, we are making construction products, we are making lot of products in India. But it is okay that we are making it. But during the process of manufacturing of any product, you name it, oil, gas, anything you make, any product, computers, cell phones, whatever, you are making in your country. But there are certain inherent parts or services that to come to the final product, you will need input from other countries. You wanted to have a carbon fiber, you need to get it from other country. You need to get a chips, you need to get a hard drive, whatever. There are so many products are involved in making one final product. And this is not only your country. Lot of country of the world will have an input that what you're making. So this is so we at this time our country, no, not our country, but any country is interdependent. You can see it is interdependent for so many things to make a final GDP. And it is very important for India to have a safe and secure atmosphere in the country. That you should not have too much violence, you should not have too much conflict between surrounding countries. Your inside India, your cultural, your social, and your political atmosphere should be stable, should be safe, so that you can have a good foreign investment. I can give you one very quick example before I go further. It is in Kashmir, because of abrogation of 370 and 35A. I learned that UAE and other countries are coming to invest in Kashmir on long-term basis for billions and billions of dollars. Why they are doing it? Because they perceive that in India, especially in Kashmir, the atmosphere for foreign investment is going to be very good and is going to be very safe. So that's why they are doing it. And each country, not only that you have your internal services secure and very safe, you should have a healthy relation with the surrounding countries or with any other country of the world where you have a vested interest for a strong GDP. So if any country you should have a healthy relation. Suppose we are getting something from Russia, something from China, something from USA, something from European countries, African countries, or if we are getting any services or any help from any other countries to increase our GDP, we must have a very healthy relation. Again, inside the country, you should have a good governance, interdependence, and self-reliance in major sector of the country, service sector or products or anything, or manufacturing sectors, health sectors. Every sectors should be very stable and should be interdependent very nicely. Now, what are the factors which are keeping these inflation rate high? Nowadays, it is very high. So these are the reasons that the inflation rate is very high. Number one, Russia and Ukraine war. This just recently happened for a few months back, and this is pushing the inflation rate higher. And other things, I will just give you the name, and then I will not go into too much detail of other things, but let us see. Most things are self-explanatory. I don't have to tell you. COVID-19 pandemic, high oil price, climate change, natural disasters, and then demand and supply. It also depends upon that. And low production of raw materials. This is another one. So high human labor cost, political, social, and economic stability, safety and security of the citizen, personal security and safety, consistent with law and order situation, consistent domestic and foreign policies. So these are the things which will be required. These are the factors that are keeping our inflation rate high. I'm sorry, but a lot of things are under human control and a lot of things are not under human control. It is a collective effort to control these factors. So that was for the high inflation rate. Next, I will talk about little bit about COVID-19 situation. Now, as you know that as per our history, we have divided the timeline into two, before Christ and after Christ, BC and AD. Today is a different situation. Things have changed when the COVID-19 hit a few years back. So now, after that, the whole world has changed. And what has happened, we can divide the current atmosphere or current timing into two aspects. One is before COVID-19, that is BC I call it, and after COVID-19, that is AC I call it. Now the world will never go back to BC situation. Forget it. What has happened has happened. And it will never be a COVID-19 before COVID-19 world. Things have changed. It's not going to go back there. So after COVID, so let us talk about after COVID-19. There was a pandemic. Pandemic is being controlled with the vaccines and social and political measures, and the world will never go back there. Now, what is the situation now? What should we do about this? We need to come up with a major innovation to deal with the post-COVID-19 status of the world and its problem. That's the final thing I can say. After that, as an India country, I want to talk about few things here now. Defense, India defense. Every country has a right to defend its territory and its citizens, its people, everything. So let us see where we stand in terms of defense of India. As per number of military personnel, India ranked second in the world. The active duty military is 1.5 million, paramilitary is 2.5 million, reserve 1.2 million, and total personnel is 5.1 million. These are the people who is in the army. Army, I'm counting three. In the military, Army, Air Force, and Navy. Army, Air Force, Navy, combined people in this defense sector is 5.1 million. That is for the defense. Now let us come to the... now, if you consider, I told you just about India. Because our next country, this is just for the comparison I am telling you, because later on I will talk about this thing a little bit in more specific way. So as per Pakistan, active duty is 654,000, paramilitary 290,000, reserve 550,000, total personnel is 1.5 million. So you can see 5.1 million India, 1.5 million Pakistan. I will talk about that later. India Police Force. Now let us come to the number of police force in total India is 2 million, roughly about. So how much is the total force of a country? Army plus police together, 7.2 million. And out of 7.2 million, 2 million is police force of all states of India. So that is how much? Police officer? 2 million. Now, let us go further. In our country, total Hindu population is 1.1 million. Total Muslim population is 300 million. Now, if something big happens in country, let me say this. Who can control and dictate country best interest? So let me tell you this. Or who can control the country? Total army and police force of India, you know that. Let us go this way. If only 5%, of the minority becomes violent, 5% of minority is 2 million people. If 5% of the majority in India gets violent, it is 5 million. Do you think total, see, if this thing happens, suppose fight happens or riot happens all over India, we have just seen the violence, I'm sorry to say that, but it just happened few days back about the protests which are going on nowadays for Agnipath, Agniveer policy for India. Or before that, there was controversy about Nupur Sharma problem, and before that there was problem with the Gyanvapi Masjid in Kashi. So there is a problem going on, and lot of things are going on with this. If only 5% of people go mad, who can control this? Total overall people in police is only 2 million. And there are more than 50 states in India. How many police force in one state? How many police force can be mobilized to control this? If few million people get mad and starts rampage and riot and everything, do you think that police force will be able to control this? Or do you think that country will deploy army to control the inside of India? Now, as I remember, in my lifetime, I have never seen that military has been deployed inside India to control any of the riot like this. But because if situation goes bad like this, my whole point is this: if a major conflict happen in the country, like India, major rebel or major conflict or major riot happens in India, all over the India, everywhere, do you think police will be able to control this? No. So who will be able to control this? It is the population, good citizen, good people. Only they will be able to control this. So the gathering, the big gathering, millions and millions of people will gather. And the practicality is this. It is very important that you have to be very practical. I'm talking to majority of India, and I'm also talking about minority of India. Both has to be more practical dealing with the problem. If I have 10 people surrounding me who wanted to kill me and I'm alone, I don't have much choice. So the thing is this: one should not come into limelight. This is the major thing. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about is that can India and Pakistan go nuke? Let us talk about that. Before I talk about can India and Pakistan go nuke, I wanted to talk about what are the countries who have a hydrogen bomb. Hydrogen bomb is much more destructive, much more powerful than atomic bomb. After all, both are atomic bomb, but the mechanism is totally different. One is fission. Atomic bomb, traditional atomic bomb, is a nuclear fission that you break the nuclei into different components. In hydrogen bomb, this technique is not fission. This technique is nuclear fusion. Okay? So this is a totally different thing, more destructive. So which country has a hydrogen bomb? USA. In 1992, they got the hydrogen bomb. United Kingdom, in 1991, they got the hydrogen bomb. France, in 1996, they got the hydrogen bomb. Russia, in 1990, they got hydrogen bomb. China, in 1996, they got hydrogen bomb. I'm not talking about atomic bomb, hydrogen bomb. Now I am come to the countries with atomic bomb. USA number 1, UK, United Kingdom, France, Russia, China, India, Pakistan, and the last one, some people believe, some country believes, some country don't believe. Most likely the next in the line is South Korea. So these are the people who or country who possess hydrogen bomb and nuclear bomb. And before I go further, I wanted to give you my impression. In my childhood, I was growing up and I was told at that time from the people that we have so much ammunitions and weapons and gunpowder and everything and bombs and atom bomb, hydrogen bomb, that the whole world can be destroyed 7 times. This I'm talking about 30 years back. 7 times world can be destroyed. Tell me, how many times the whole world can be destroyed today? Think of this. Now, I will stop here, then I will go next to that. Atomic race in Indian or in Asian continent. Let us come here. I'm going towards little bit towards India. So, nuclear test, Russia first. First test Russia did in 1949. Till today, total tests, nuclear tests by Russia is 727. You can imagine how many nuclear assets this country has, number one thing. Second, nuclear test China. The first test, 1964. Total test done by China so far is 47. So this is for China and Russia. I'm talking about the country which possesses atomic weapon. Let us come to Indian subcontinent. Nuclear test was done by India. First nuclear test is done by India, which is called Pokhran 1. It was done in 1974. And the name of the test was Smiling Buddha. So Smiling Buddha was the first atomic test which was done in India in 1974. I remember that. I still have memory for that time. I was in intermediate college at that time, that they did the testing on that. And it was surprising that even after that, this test was not recognized by world, and it does not have a major impact on the world, and we were still considered developing country after that. Things have changed a little bit, much faster. In 1998, 5 nuclear tests was done, which is called Pokhran 2, and the total test 5 is called Operation Shakti. This is the name for Operation Shakti, for nuclear bomb. Followed by, I remember this because I was in USA. I remember very clearly. This test, which 5, was followed by 6 underground nuclear tests by Pakistan, just 15 days after this test by Pakistan. Now, I will not go into too much after this, that what is the policy, nuclear policy for India, nuclear policy for Pakistan. I'm not going into that. I'm giving you some examples that I remember. This example I saw on the TV, and I saw people talking about this. I have seen discussion on TV, so I'm telling you the summary of what I have learned for this. The title of this thing I wanted to give you: the Indo-Pak War, Pakistan Atomic Threat and India Response in 2001. In 2001, something happens. Very, very important thing happens, that in 2001, Indian Parliament was attacked, if you remember that. There was too much tension at the Indo-Pakistan border. Too much tension in Indo-Pakistan border. At that time, the India Prime Minister was Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And the USA President was Mr. George Bush Jr., not the senior, George Bush. He told Atal Bihari Vajpayee, and I have seen this, believe me, I was in America, I have seen this on TV. President George Bush told Atal Bihari Vajpayee to remove the Indian forces from the Indo-Pak border, or Pakistan is threatening, that's what he was telling, or the Pakistan is threatening to fire atomic bomb on India. Atal Bihari Vajpayee replied, now listen what he replied, that we accept. We have accepted that over 20 million people died because of Pakistani atom bomb. He said that, I remember that. Please, then Atal Bihari Vajpayee said to George Bush, please tell Pakistan that whole Pakistan population will not see the sun next morning. We will wipe out the Pakistan map from the globe. That was the response for Atal Bihari Vajpayee to George Bush to convey this to Pakistan. Now remember this. This incident happens in 2001. Today is 2022, more than 20 years now. Can you compare the nuclear power of India to Pakistan? Although you can compare that, but look at the demographic of both countries. Much small is Pakistan. Very large is India. Okay? How many people you can kill in India before your country will be wiped out? Please be practical. Do not push India to that extent that it retaliates in a very strong way. Recently, and this I also hear this on Pakistan TV, and I was watching that. And this happens when in 2022, when Shahbaz Sharif becomes the Prime Minister. It was the interim Prime Minister. He was not elected so far. There will be election later. But at this time, he became the... And Pakistani Prime Minister, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif, said on the TV, and I was watching that TV just recently, that we are far behind India in the area of modernization and development, but we are still atomic power. And if India dare to make any aggression move against Pakistan, we will crush India under our feet. I hear this and I cannot believe in my ear what a joke he's talking about. You can crush India, whole India population, whole India country under your feet. I have never seen Atal Bihari Vajpayee ever said like that, or Narendra Modi have said anything like that. Recently, when the Imran Khan threatened India that we have atomic power and the struggle will go much longer if India attack and this and that, Narendra Modi only said one thing after hearing this. I saw on this TV. आपके पास जो एटम बम है, हमारे पास जो एटम बम है वो हमने दिवाली में पटाखा बजाने के लिए रखे हुए हैं. पर यही कहा, इससे आगे नहीं कहा. हम लोग we don't have a policy to expand our territory to in any other country. We went and we freed Bangladesh, then we came back. We did not capture Bangladesh. It was very easy to just stay there, have the country under India. We don't have that policy, so we didn't do that. Next, so that's what he said. Still now, whenever they talk about atomic power and we will crush India and this and that, it gives me a great laugh. But what can I say? The next thing I wanted to give you one more example. Why Wing Commander Abhinandan was released by Pakistan after surgical strike in 2019? You must have heard that. Pakistan has freed Indian fighter pilot which was captured after his plane was shut down in Pakistan administered Kashmir. We all know that. Next Friday, Wing Commander Abhinandan was handed over to Indian officials on Friday at the legal border crossing with Pakistan. So Mr. Modi responds to a media question in England, and I remember that I just watched that Indian TV, that UK interview with Narendra Modi, I think, few years back. You can also go Google and check it. One of the media anchor, although he was the India guy, he asked Narendra Modi, "Sir, you called Pakistan Prime Minister Mr. Imran Khan at night and you talked to him, and the next day Wing Commander Abhinandan was released. Can you tell us what was the conversation between you and him?" You know what Modi replied? What conversation happens, nobody knows. But what Modi replied, listen to this. And I hear with my ear that was Modi said. कुछ रात की बातों को राज ही रहने देना चाहिए. This was the statement from Narendra Modi. This was Narendra Modi's statement. After that, you know that in the morning, Pakistani version, what was Pakistani version? Listen to this. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan said that pilot's release was a piece of gesture to India. you consider India your enemy, and you want to release this wing commander for India gesture. What can I say? Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about for modern India is this topic is just very last topic, and I will discuss with few words, and then we'll start. Andha Kanun. We all know that in India it is a very great phrase that Kanun andha hota hai. Now, before the start of internet and video and all those things have changed now. Traditionally, any criminal case would have taken months and months and months, years and years and years, and convictions and judgment, statement comes 10 years, 20 years, 30 years after the court case. There were a lot of back and forth statements, witnesses, and this and that. Finally, the court decides on the basis of witness and statements and investigations and this and that, after listening to all the documents and this and that, then the judge decides what should be the result, what should be the punishment for the plaintiff or anybody. So, but few words I'm telling you, and you have your experience, I have also my experience. Nowadays, you have seen that court does not interfere, especially when it comes to the rules and regulations of the country to restore the peace and communal harmony in India. You have seen that, how Modi is handling the situation, how other chief minister is handling the situation in their states. Court most of the time keep silent. They don't come into picture about this. Because of why? Why? I'm giving you names some. Common usage of cell phone, drone surveillance, satellite imaging, video capturing, CC plus CC camera. If you have a video evidence, visual evidence, something wrong is done in front of you, you can see it. Whole community, whole world can see what has happened. What kind of more evidence you need? All these people or other community people say, don't become judge, don't pass this judgment, because let the judiciary take time, let the court case happens, we will know what happened. All those are traditional old things. You don't do those witnesses and this and that. There is something which is in front of you, which is happening. Somebody is burning the train, somebody is burning the bus, somebody is toppling the car, somebody is destroying the property, somebody is throwing stone. You can see the face, who's threatening, who's stone pelting. What evidence you need? What are you talking about? Things are in front of you. Nowadays, forget about that, the statue, you see Kanun, a lady with a black stripe on the eyes and having a balance in her hand, insaf ka taraju and this and that. Those things are old. Listen to me. Nowadays, Qanun is not andha. Qanun can see who is doing what. This is a totally different. Now, things, a lot of people don't realize the change. If you become like an ostrich, शुतुरमुर्ग की तरह अपना सर बालू में घुसा के ये सोचो कि कोई तुम्हें देख नहीं रहा है, तो ये तुम बिलीव नहीं करते कि बाहर क्या हो रहा है. So this is not the situation. You have a drone. Everybody has a video phone. They can take the picture. They can take a video. Media has a camera. You have a satellite imaging. You have a software to recognize people who is doing what in the crowd. People don't realize that old method, old systems are old. This joker from Hyderabad, people say that he has a barrister from England, this and that. He might have done barrister from England, but it was 20, 30 years back when there was no media like this. Maybe he learned that wait for witness and this and that. Update. Anybody who has a old knowledge should update now. Go by the flow of the society, of the thing. So this is what I have to say this time, and this is the end of the video today, and this was the last thing I can do, and then from next not video, it will be a live streaming. Then I will give invitations and anybody can join, and you can call in, log in and everything. I'm still working on that. Once that thing is perfected, I will put in information for all of you so that we can have a live streaming and live discussion. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Ram.